What is going on, guys? Pete Nova here with First Class Fantasy. I am joined with Wyatt, and day 2 is officially in the books for the NFL draft, and we're going to give you a rookie mock draft of round 1 for our instant analysis. We're going to kick through this really quick here. Wyatt, who do you have here at the 101?
Yeah, it's still Jeremiah Love. Like, I know there's people out there who are worried, but do not be worried. It's still Love. He's going to have a fantastic career.
Yeah, I mean, Love makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, kind of surprised that the Arizona Cardinals went with Love, but I mean,
but
I don't care who's in that room.
Yeah, he's fine.
You don't spend the number 3 pick in the overall draft on a running back and don't use him. But
most guaranteed money ever for running backs. So we're okay.
Absolutely wild. But at the 102, I'm going to go with Carnell Tate, right? I mean, I know people want maybe Mendoza, even if we're talking super flex here today, tight end premium, but I don't care, right? Like Mendoza, good quarterback. I think ceiling is probably close to like quarterback 2, high-end quarterback 2. But like to me, like I'm not going to pass up a guy like Carnell Tate who's going to be attached to a guy like Cam Ward. That looks like it could possibly be an ascending offense. So I'm good with that. Are you good with that?
There's no hate to that kind of a pick, but I am going with Fernando Mendoza here at the 103, and I would take him at the 102. Okay. Like I understand people's concern that they think he's maybe a low floor quarterback, like maybe low end QB2, but I do not think he is that. I think he could be a high end QB2 for years to come. So it's Mendoza for me.
Okay, yeah, that's totally fine. And I mean, slowing it down just a little bit. The 104, right? We talk about the tiers in this class, right? And you had a lot of these wide receivers. Jordan Tyson goes to the Saints, and that's who I'm taking at the 104, right? I mean, it feels kind of obvious. Kind of top 4 feels chalk, but it's really a matter of like, do you prefer Tyson? Do you prefer Tate? It's going to be the same guys in the top 4 for most people, but like it's a matter of like, do you take that quarterback, right, in a super flex because of the positional value? Do you take one of those wide receivers over another wide receiver because you just prefer one over the other? But to me, Tyson's clearly the wide receiver 2 in this class based on the landing spot. And I kind of like the landing spot, right? I mean, like, I like Tate more, but like he goes into Kellen Moore's offense in a dome, in a division that's going to have high scoring games, bad defenses. And to me, like, I'm actually kind of happy with this spot for Tyson because long-term, Chris Olave with the injuries, doesn't have a long-term contract with this team. So you could possibly see them move on from Tyson in a year, from Olave in a year or two, and it opens up the possibility for Tyson to be that number 1, just not like Tate, who's probably going to have a chance to be wide receiver 1 much earlier.
Yeah, actually, I like Tyson more than Tate because I like this. I like the structure of the offense. I know that they're going to be a high-paced offense that wants to throw a lot. Like there are a lot of opportunities there for Tyson. But sitting here, the next wide receiver up, Mekhi Lemon. I know a lot of people are worried about him landing with the Eagles, but I think you need to understand, yes, people think that he is a slot-only wide receiver. When you take a wide receiver with this kind of draft capital, they're not a slot-only wide receiver. And in fact, he had the highest yards per route run of a wide receiver coming in this class, playing out wide. He can do it. So here he is for me.
And no notes, right? Wyatt's got that right off the top of his dome because we have no notes in front of us right now. This is strictly just draft prep that we remember, coming into this video, and Lemon makes a lot of sense. Like, look, like let's talk about Lemon for a second. Like Lemon, at first, it's kind of like a bummer because we would have loved him to go to Miami, right? Who doesn't take a wide receiver till day 2.
Sure.
But realistically, with Lemon, you have Devonta Smith there, and that's obviously a big elephant in this room. And you have Jalen Hurts, who, certainty is kind of unknown for the future there. But realistically, run first offense, but a wide receiver that could honestly still have a chance to still be that wide receiver 1. I like Devonta Smith. He's getting older, and that's not a knock on him because I have him as a buy coming into the draft. But to me, I would not be surprised if Mekhi Lemon becomes that guy in this offense. It might not be early. We talked about it with Podfather this morning, right? Like Mekhi Lemon could be a guy that you could actually buy because of a slow start. And honestly, Mekhi Lemon might slip past a couple of guys because people are kind of more excited about other landing spots that we've seen so far. But I do like Mekhi Lemon there at the 105. You're kind of at this point, like tight end premium. Like, do you take Sadiq, right? Like for me, I'm not taking Sadiq at the 105, right? Oh, sorry, 106. Sorry about that. But it's Casey Conception, right? Like you're a Browns guy. Browns draft Casey Conception, right? He gets to a spot where really it's just Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, Harold Fannon's really the biggest threat to me in this offense, right? And it's really more of a run first offense, but they have shown over the last 2 years that they are going to throw the football. But new coaching staff, right? we expect them to probably still kind of throw the ball because I think they're going to be probably playing from behind. And KC doesn't have much target competition. We will talk about Denzel Boston at some point, hopefully, maybe. What do you think about the landing spot for KC?
Yeah, Casey's been my 106 this entire process. Anyone who's been following our content, I've been saying this is the 106.
Yeah.
Laying with the Browns, I realize people get upset because it's the Browns, right? And then
we're always upset about something.
But this is an offense that is begging for a wide receiver one, and he's going to be that for them. So no issues whatsoever. He's been in my 106. He is still my 106.
Okay.
I love the pick. We're going to move on to the 107. And I honestly think now is where we're like, what do we do? Because
so it kind of becomes like ice cream.
It's
flavor.
dirty.
What do you like?
It's messy. Like it's like we know this draft is not good, and honestly, the draft did not go our way for a lot of these prospects, right? So I'm going to take someone who went with good draft capital in the first round. I'm going to take Kenyon Sadiq here. He's still my wide receiver one. I've talked a lot about Eli Stowers and how I like him. We also talked about on this show, Player Profiler. If you're watching any of the draft coverage, we actually got in depth on this like a lot. So I really check out the NFL draft show, especially when we were talking tight ends when it came to Stowers versus Sadiq. But my thing with Sadiq versus Stowers is Sadiq to me is a player who will not miss in the NFL, where Stowers possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that Stowers has a higher ceiling. I know we're trying to bet on that, but we have to talk about percentile outcomes. How likely is that to happen? I think Sadiq is not a miss in the NFL, so he's still here for me.
Yeah, I think this becomes a classic trade back scenario, right? You get to 106, and it's like you could take Jordan Price, you could take Sadiq, but the reality is like I don't think there's a big gap between Sadiq and Stowers. Now, for you feel like Sadiq is the safer pick, and I get it. Right, like we talk tight ends and like what's important, how do you get on the field? Like blocking is important, and Stowers is really more of a tweener. So like totally get that. But in a tight end premium, you could also say, hey, possibly more target volume for Stowers, but like what does it really mean? And the truth is like I get the argument. We talked about it on today's show on the live draft, and we're going to continue to update the rankings. And honestly, if you don't know, right, we do have a $50 discount on the all-in package at Player Profiler, right? If you use the code DRAFT this weekend, if you're listening to this, and you're going to get all our updated rankings, our data suite, everything else. And you can also check out that Dynasty Dominator. And I'm going to have to duck down because we don't have our normal setup.
Ooh, trade just came in on my phone. Let's see. Should I make it? I don't know. I want to make a move now, though. I don't want to wait to get back to my computer. What do I do? Oh, we have the Dynasty Dominator app that scores the trade based on our lifetime value rating at playerprofiler.com. We also give you just a price lookup tool with the ADP to say, what is this guy really worth? And the app has a player comparison tool to juxtapose the advanced metrics of two players. This is $5 in the App Store. That's it. So we want you to do deep research on playerprofiler.com, but we also want you to be able to make moves in the moment. So go get that Dynasty Dominator now. It's in the App Store. It's on Google Play. And you can thank me later.
All right, folks. So I'm up here at the 108, and this is where it starts to kind of get messy, right? Because look, Jordarian Price, first round capital. It's really hard to ignore that. And honestly, I'm going to take Jordarian Price here, right? I mean, I like Antonio Williams. I like Stowers. We're talking tight end premium. You could take Ty Simpson too, right? I mean, we're talking super flex, not a great draft class. He gets top 15 capital, but I'll take Jordarian Price. There are some concerns about Jordarian Price, and I'm going to talk about it because I'm not in love or sold with this pick. Like if you have this pick and you have a possibility, if you're a contender and you can go get somebody that you really like with this pick, that's what I would do. But the thing with Jordarian Price, right? Like not a very big receiving profile out of college. Like we know that he goes to a team with Seattle, and we talked about that today, where Seattle seems to rotate their running backs. They do lose Clint Kubiak, and this offense could look a little bit different in terms of scheme. Could it take a step back? But the positives for Price is first round capital and a guy that steps into a pretty much a ready-made role for him to be the lead back, which is very hard to ignore because really we did not get much on day 2 for the running back position here. I mean,
zero.
We got a running back that didn't even go to the combine. So
we don't actually care about Kalen Black.
Yeah. So it's tough, but I'll take Jordarian Price. It's really consolation. But if I was at this pick, I probably would try to trade back or trade out for an actual proven player.
Yeah, we're at the point in the draft where it's proving how bad of a draft class it is, especially after the draft is actually happening, because we're finding out like we did not get landing spots for some of these players.
No.
We did not get Mike Washington Jr. anywhere. We did not get Jonah Coleman anywhere. We did not get Emmett Johnson anywhere.
Nope.
Caleb Black does not excite anybody.
No
Like
Skylar Bell either for me.
like we are
I know that's my guy. I know.
yeah. We're in a weird spot in dynasty drafts. So I'm going to make a pick that I don't love making, but I feel like I have to. I'm going to take Ty Simpson because it is just a quarterback's retained value in dynasty move. This is purely what it is. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. Like, this is what it is because it's where we are in this draft class. Like, I do not like Ty Simpson as a prospect, just being honest, but he went in the first round, and those players retain value in Superflex Dynasty. Like, we've seen it over and over again. They could be terrible. They could not play. Actually, it's better if they don't play because there's the unknown that fantasy gamers
hold
look
the
at.
Value a little bit because people think like, what do I have in the box? The mystery box, and it's like, well, we don't really know, but
exactly
Rams,
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna take Ty Simpson here. I don't love it, but that's where we are.
I don't love most of these things. And that's why we talked about. I mean, I've talked to you about it. Like AJ Brown has been a guy that I've been trying to trade for like a ton. And it's like, dude, like if you traded for AJ Brown like before this class, and you even gave up like a 106 for him.
Imagine the veterans you could have gotten in Dynasty with the entire back round of the 2026 rookie draft. Like you could get so many veterans that are way better than everything we have here.
100%. And so we'll transition here because I'm up here at the 109. I think it's the 109.
110.
Right? 110. Really? Is it 110?
I think we're 110.
I think we're at the 110. I'm going to take Eli Stowers here. And we talked about it. I had a whole back and forth with Podfather. For me, look, we're in tight end premium. I don't think there's a huge drop off between Stowers and Kenyon Sadiq. And this is where I would probably prefer to take the tight end position. I get it. Bad draft class right now. And while Sadiq got bad draft capital, we didn't really get many good draft capital. Like we sat here today and we said, man, Sadiq, like he might get pushed to late first round after we get some draft capital from these wide receivers. We got excited, and it's like, man, like we didn't really get the landing spots we were hoping for. So Stowers and the tight end position gets pushed up in a tight end premium when you also factor in bad landing spots. I think with him in this offense, with Jalen Hurts, who I know we talked about with Goddard, and last year with Petula was kind of a spike year with Goddard for the tight end and the touchdown position, or touchdowns at the tight end position. But to me, I look at it like this is a guy who's going to be a focal point in the red zone. They don't have that big body guy in the red zone outside of Goddard, who's really on a 1-year deal. We're talking long-term for Dynasty. Saquon probably takes a step back after this year, right? Another year older. Goddard probably gone. And Stowers, while he is a tweener, right, you're talking about risk. And I don't think Philadelphia takes that risk to go take Stowers unless they have a plan to go utilize him. And whether he steps up to that challenge and actually ends up being good in that plan that they have for him, that's yet to be seen. But I think they have a plan for him.
Yeah, we get to this point now after this pick where I think we're like, we are in full on how do you feel about these prospects before the draft and where they landed. And like, this is where the drafts in your rookie drafts in your dynasty leagues can get really crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a player that I think Player Profiler is just like making one of their namestays, like we're way in on. So Antonio Williams is here, the pick for me. I can't believe he actually made it into my first round because he's been a second round pick for me for a long time. Just understanding that like he is a really solid floor prospect.
Sure.
But like what is the actual ceiling? But when we get into this part of the draft, and it's like, okay, what day 2 running backs? Oh, we didn't really have day 2 running backs. And the wide receivers who went on day 2, there's some weird landing spots. There's some wide receivers who went on day 2 where like we understand that they're a structural draft option for the team where they're like there to stretch the offense, but not really there for fantasy. But we have this here for me right now.
I like it. I actually kind of like it though.
Like I know I'm downplaying this player that I'm about, but like I'm
scary.
But this is where we are.
But it's scary because it's like you look at Antonio Williams, and this is at the 111, and you look at Antonio Williams, and you sit here and you say like, yeah, I like this guy. is he a first round pick? Like, holy crap. Like, I'm taking Antonio Williams. And like, Antonio Williams is kind of like a speculative guy, like a guy that you're like, yeah, mid second round, maybe late second round. Like, that's what we thought before the draft. But like, this is how crazy this year's going to be. And honestly, that's why you got to stick with us here at Player Profiler. You check out the data suite and all the things that we have, because the truth is, while this is a bad class, you're going to have to lock in, right, and really dig in as to why you have some guys where you do, because the truth is, this is not a class where you can just have good players fall into your lap. You are going to have to do the work with conviction, or you're going to have to trade the pick, right? And there's no shame in that game, right? I totally get that. I respect that, because to me, I'm probably trying to get out of this business in this class if I can get proven veterans. So totally get that. But the truth is, Antonio Williams, I like him too. And it is really scary to say, like, holy crap, like Antonio Williams fucking like first round pick in rookie drafts. But like, I do like the profile. I just wasn't expecting to have him so high, but I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So finish this up.
Finish this up here with the 112, Chris Bell, right? Chris Bell goes to the Dolphins. Like, this is a guy who, before the injury in college, we were looking at him as like top 5 wide receiver in this class. Like, we know he's extremely talented. It was really just kind of like the concerns of like, what does he look like? What kind of capital does he get? I thought Chris Bell was going to get higher capital, right? So that was kind of frustrating, but the team he goes to is the Miami Dolphins, right? Miami does take a wide receiver ahead of him in Douglas, but the truth is, like, I'll put my chips on a much more talented player in Chris Bell. Chris Bell falls behind Douglas because of the injury, and maybe teams were kind of concerned about that. Maybe he didn't interview well. I'm not totally sure about that, but the truth is, Chris Bell, in an opportunity, he's probably steps in as the best talented player as a receiver out of, except maybe A-Chain, day one in this offense.
Yeah, Pete, I'm with you. Like, this dude had legit round 1 prospects going for him for a long time before the injury. And then even after the injury, there was talk that he still might go late round 1. He falls to round 3, late into round 3, and thought is like, well, maybe the medicals look bad, but if he is healthy, like, this dude is a value to us, right? It's wild that he went. It's wild that he went that far. But before we get out of here, we gotta talk. I just want to say, we get into round 2 of the rookie draft. We're not doing it right now, but like, we have some running back landing spots that are coming up. Right? Like, where does Mike Washington, Jonah Coleman, and Emmett Johnson go? Like, is that going to shake up?
It is. I think it'll shake things up because the truth is this: like, we got a lot of wide receiver landing spots, but like, dude, like, we still don't even like those landing spots. So
right. Yeah.
This is like, we still have the possibility of one of these. Like, look, Cam Scatterbu, day 3 running back last year. Brayshaw Tootin being projected and drafted as a top 24 wide receiver in startups right now for the running back position. So like, it is possible that some of these day 3 running backs could be fantasy viable. And in a class where we don't really have many great landing spots, especially at wide receiver, Matt talked about it, Pavlov talked about it today, but like, I get what he means, where he's going to take more wide receivers, and I totally get that. But if these running backs, somebody gets a good landing spot, I have that guilty pleasure. I'll probably lean into that, because I don't really love a lot of the other guys that we really haven't talked about, like Omar Cooper, Jeremy Bernard. I don't love it. I just don't love it. Ted Hurst is probably a guy I kind of like, but we just didn't have a chance to get to him.
It's hard to bet on wide receivers when they have to earn targets in situations that we don't love, whereas the running backs can just be in a situation where they are one injury or one situation away from being fantasy relevant and players that we really want to draft.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. And look, we're going to be back tomorrow, right? If you guys listen to us here, if you're in the morning, right, and you're just kind of like, man, I need to get my fix. We appreciate you guys listening on the audio side. If you're here on the podcast video side, we appreciate you guys as well. Not the best production. We're here. We are literally doing it. Couple beers in, whatever. We're feeling it, but we are feeling good about our process right now. Things are going to change, of course, but we feel pretty good. Thank you so much for sticking with us on draft weekend, and we'll see you guys next time.